Based on the first two of Sophie Kinsella's 5 hugely popular $15 million selling books, produced by Jerry Bruckheimer for Disney's Touchstone, so it's a big commercial affair. Was that part of the attraction for you? You think, well, here we go, this is a nice big fat chunky romantic comedy?
Yeah. Yeah, although the words fat, chunky and romantic comedy don't tend to go together, but yeah, sure. I mean, you want to make a movie that's going to reach a whole lot of people, and I don't know an actor that doesn't want to do that. But on the other hand, just on the basis of large, if you're just going for scale, you're probably going to trip up. I mean, for me, it was about the individuals involved. Like you said, Sophie Kinsella's books, you know, they're kind of a great blueprint. But Isla, P.J. Hogan, and his track record, and Jerry Bruckheimer, obviously. So yeah, I felt like I was in good hands.
You play the very loving and caring and kind and suave and sophisticated Luke Brandon, which I don't know whether that took a lot of preparation, because I'm guessing you were probably a swine in real life, right?
Yeah, but actually, it's funny you should say. I mean, I think obviously he ends up being a kind of pretty good guy, but the hope was to initially to have somebody who was, you know, not Mr. Caring and Mr. Gentle. You know, he's just pretty much work driven, obsessed with his career, and a little blind to the better qualities in her. You know, I mean, like that's the definition of romantic comedy, isn't it? Really.
There would be a sense here that there's this kind of combination of Devil, you know, Wears Prada meets Legally Blonde meets Being There meets the Imelda Marcos story. I don't know if there were certain things for you that you sort of referenced that you thought, well, I'll go and look at these kind of movies to get the tone right.
Yeah, I did actually. I mean, I went back, and not to draw any direct comparison. These are classics, but you know, obviously you want to watch the best. So I went back to some of the really old-fashioned romantic comedies. It Happened One Night, Bringing Up Baby, you know, Jimmy Stewart movies, just anything that had that good banter, which like you often see, if I'm reading a script for romantic comedy, you get it feel like people are paying lip service to that, but it's rare that you get a real sense of it, and I think that we did in this movie capture that to some extent.
You played the lead role in Max Mayer's Adam, which will be out this year. It was in Sundance, and also you've got Will Freer's Coach coming around, and there's that sense, and this is a kind of a leading role in a big Hollywood movie, the sense that you're moving up the food chain in Hollywood. I don't know if it feels that way for you, whether you feel it's slightly a different world now for you, or...
You know, I mean, it's a happy confluence of events. Like this movie, you make a movie like this, obviously there's a lot of money behind it, and it gets pushed out there, and you're that much more visible, I suppose. And then you make a tiny movie like Adam, which was made for under $500,000, which in the big scheme of things is peanuts, and we went to Sundance, and suddenly it's bought up and it's going to have a life and a future. Well, that's great. I'm delighted about it, but it's not part of some grand plan. If it serves me in that ladder that you're talking about, then all the better. Yeah.
I know with your background, I was surprised to read that your father, Jonathan, is a noted British philosopher, and your mom, Sarah, is a publisher. And I'm wondering when it came to you turning around and say, hey, I'm going to be an actor, whether they were hooray or whether they sort of thought, oh my God, no.
I think there's some middle ground there.
Right.
I think they were, no, you know, they're always very supportive. Initially, like any parent, they were just happy that I could afford to eat, when I could afford to eat. You know, more to the point, my dad's an academic. You don't go into that line of work unless you really want to. You know, it's a vocation. So they respected that as well.
I know that your initial kind of experience with acting was that I think you said yourself you were sent to the school theatre as a kind of a punishment to paint sets and all that. And I don't know whether there was a day then that you thought, hey ho, this could be the life for me. I don't know whether maybe the beautiful women who are all vulnerable and expose themselves emotionally attracted you. Or?
Oh well, I was exposing myself as well. That's why I was
That's a whole different story.
That's a different story. No, it was more like by the time I came to think about you know how I need to think about what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. You know, and your contemporaries are kind of starting to think about going for interviews or whatever, and I realized that the decision had already been formed in my brain. You know, I don't know when it happened, but somewhere along the line, I'd kind of written off the other options. So I didn't have any long nights of the soul thinking, should I, shouldn't I? It was kind of a fait accompli.
Like me, you're an incredibly handsome young man, and also like me, you've been compared to a young Colin Firth sometimes, which I know kind of gets your back up a little bit. I don't know if there's a part of you thinks, well, okay, I'm going to play a lesbian wheelchair-bound assassin just to throw these people off the scent.
I wanted the role, but Colin took it. You know,
typical.
No, not at all. I think honestly, those kind of comparisons only ever occur, and with all due respect, in the press. You know, and I think normally you just pursue your own line and people out there who watch it kind of get that if you're successful.
This idea too that you're a humble young English gent from Stoke-on-Trent, and now you're living downtown Manhattan with a very beautiful, quite famous girlfriend. Is that life completely cool with you, or do you find yourself feeling it's somebody else's life at times? Because
well, I think that's your perception of my life. I mean, my life is very normal, actually. I think. I mean, there's obviously moments like this, and you know, a movie's coming out, you're on a red carpet, glamour to the left, glamour to the right. But day to day, my life is really pretty similar to what it has been for a long time.
You're dating Claire Danes. It's pretty normal.
You know, I don't not really want to go into much, but I'm dating my girlfriend. That's all there is to it.
Rock and roll. And just a sense that I don't know whether you feel America is somewhere that you'd like to you know, you've done small independent films, you've done big movies like this. Is there a kind of a feeling in your bones that you'd like to go a certain way with this career, whether you...
I think that if you're smart, you try and balance them up. I mean, and for me personally, I think that's what I would want to do anyway, but I actually think it's the kind of canny way to go as well, you know. And I very much, kind of personally, I'm still think of myself as British, and that's where I'm based as well. In fact, I do live in London as well, and you know, so you want to juggle all those balls in the air, and theatre even for me. So I'm the main thing is not to box yourself in too much.
Rock and roll. Friendly finger.